This is my favorite part. You just pull. Today we're upgrading our nipple waterers for our pigs. Now you don't have to only use these for pigs. We use them for pigs, we use them for our chickens. I even used them when my kids were little before they could get up and get a drink. You just put a 55-gallon drum with a nipple waterer next to their bed. Now, what I used to use was just one of these. This is the actual nipple device. There's a spring in here, and we would drill threads into the plastic, screw it directly into our 55-gallon drum. But what ended up happening was pigs like to chew, pigs are destructive. So as they did that, that little plastic was not enough to hold. So they have upgraded these things. They now include one of these. You can still buy these solo, but buy the one that has this, and this is a threaded nut. It has 2 washers on it, and it's threaded here, and that's what this fits into. Side note, if you want to use these for chickens, the spring in here is too strong. So on the back there's a little gold piece. If you unthread that gold piece, it actually gives you access to the spring. If this thing starts leaking too, you can take that apart and clean out that O-ring. But if you cut this spring in roughly half and then screw it back together, the chickens are able to peck it and get water out. You obviously need a barrel. This is a 55-gallon drum. I got these off of Craigslist for like $5, Facebook Marketplace, things like that. Easy to find these barrels. Now you'll notice this does not have a removable top. So how do you get this down and in without ruining your barrel or cutting the whole top off, which I don't like the whole top off because things fall in there. I'm going to show you. Now some of these come, if you pay a little bit extra, with a little hole saw bit, and that's great. But I would save that money and buy a step bit. A step bit has a whole bunch of sizes, and I bought one of these when I first did this, and it's worked great. Now you say, I don't know exactly how big that thing is. How do I know what size this is? Drill a test hole in the top. And then stick this in it. If it fits, which that's too tight, one more step. Perfect. So stick this back in, don't pull the trigger, and mark it with a Sharpie. Now you have a gauge as to how deep to do it. We do ours 2 or 3 inches above the bottom of the barrel, then we set ours on a pallet so it's up out of the mud so the pigs have a better time going at it. Now how do we get this through that hole? My favorite way is with a little 17 gauge piece of wire. Now this is old fence line that I'm not using anymore. You put it on there and then you just kind of bend a little T shape like that. See how it stays on there? Now you have something that's stiff enough that you can feed through your top hole here over to where your nipple will go. And since you drilled this handy dandy little practice hole in the top, that gives you a sight line to look down. Aim for the light. Once you get through the light, reach down, grab your wire, and feed this right through. Now before you go yanking all willy-nilly on this thing, grab your washer and your nut, and you feed that on this side. So now we just gently pull, and out she pops. Feed this over it and start threading on your nut. The nice thing about this design is that rubber creates enough friction that you can actually snug this down without having to hold the back side. Grab your pliers. Nice and snug. Now what do we do with this? This is my favorite part. You just pull. And that little T that you put in bends right out. Put a copious amount of Teflon tape on this because these are not plumbing threads exactly, so they don't bottom out. So you're going to want a lot of Teflon on there so it does not leak. Now if you're tightening this, because I like my open part facing up, and your nut starts to loosen on your brass fitting that goes into the barrel, fret not. Once you get this where you want it, you can come back to this and snug it down. And that's it. Now I only put 3 on like 1/4 of my barrel. I used to put them all the way around. I don't do that anymore. I put 3, there's plenty of space for the pigs. We have 4 pigs in there. When I put more around, what I realized is if I ever had to move this thing or do anything like that, these would get hit and snag on things. So now I have sides that I can move and not worry about that. So this will go in the pig pen, and they'll have 55 gallons of water. Thanks for watching. My name is Brian. This is Flannel Farms. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, keep growing as you grow, and we'll see you next time. Bye.